morning. Thank you very much for joining us. Great to have you with us. We are continuing our series of conversations in this time period with the candidates for governor. This week, we're pleased to welcome independent candidate Jeff McCormick, founder of a Boston venture capital firm that has helped fund numerous businesses in our area. Mr. McCormick is a Boston resident making his first run for elective office. Jeff, welcome.
John, thanks so much for having me.
Good to have you. Now, Governor Patrick said this past week he wants to find ways for Massachusetts to take in some of the immigrant children who've been illegally crossing the border in the Southwest in droves recently, and says it's a matter of humanitarian decency because of potential danger they face if they're returned home. Critics of that position say that's not a good idea to bring in undetermined numbers of these kids without a lot more information about how we're going to care for them, how we're going to pay for it, and that doing so may open the floodgates to more illegal immigration here. Who's right?
Well, I think the problem is there's this wonderful giving side that we all have, people in the Commonwealth, of which I've seen for decades. That's terrific, but there seems not to be a plan, John. We don't know what the long term is, and there are issues, there are health issues, vaccinations. Someone has to think through all of the details. Is this going to be like an unfunded mandate to the particular municipalities where these children are going to have to go to school? Their budgets are stretched already. They've already cut, arts and music and sports programs. They don't know what to do with it. So I really do think that we've got to dig into the details and understand what are we doing going forward.
Well, let's say you were governor right now. You don't have a lot of time to fool around. The feds are on the phone saying, we need your help. The pictures are heartbreaking of the situation involving these kids. And the complaints of local officials and local residents who are already chafing under the burden of illegal immigration are also compelling. What do you do if you're governor right now?
I think you've got to put as much pressure on the federal government as possible to say, you have got to come together and tell us what the plan is, where the money is going to come from. I mean, with DCF, for example, they're already strained and they're hiring new people, but it takes months and months for people to get up to speed. So time is of the essence here, and they need a sense of urgency to give us answers.
Now, in general, when it comes to immigration and immigration reform, a lot of businessmen like you, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, have been pushing for more liberalized immigration laws because of the key role immigrant labor plays in the workforce. What about you?
Well, there's no question that immigrants are extraordinarily important to our economy. In fact, this country was built on the hardworking immigrants, for generations. We have had hundreds of foreign-born employees in our companies over the years, and they are job creators. So I am all for the right kind of immigration policy, but we have to have one.
Can you be a little more specific about what you want to see?
Well, one of the things that we do a terrible job of with immigrants that are higher educated, we tend not to make it an extremely easy place for them to locate. We don't want these people to leave because 60% of the small businesses that are formed in our Commonwealth, 61 actually, are formed by immigrants. Small businesses, John, are what create jobs, and as I travel through the Commonwealth, job growth is issue number one.
How about amnesty? Very briefly, we have to break. How about amnesty for those who are already here but are not documented?
I think we need a very thoughtful program that phases in people becoming citizens of the United States. But I have to tell you, we've got to do it in order. I mean, there's some people who really pay their dues, John, and we can't just have people leapfrog them.
All right, take a deep breath and relax for a moment. We'll take a break, and when we return, more conversation with independent candidate for Governor Jeff McCormick. So please stay with us.